American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
So now I'm obsessed with time. Come on, tell me about the time. Had it all in my hand tonight. Had the time of my life. When the words all come down like blues on Tuesdays gone down. Throw it all away.
Yeah. Welcome to another episode of American Timeline, starring beautiful beautiful weed smoking gruff,
Hey.
wonderful cocktail sipping pilot babu, and the star of arts
You got the right one.
with a tiny earth in his hands and tiny earth behind, a giant earth behind him. Arstar.
The whole world in his hands. He's got the whole
We're all back, and me, Joe.
world.
I'm back, and
Thank
we are
you.
jumping into July of 1944. Farty far.
Farty far.
Friday Fire?
Yeah.
1945.
44, right before
Hey,
45 and right after 43.
And we each have chosen
1944.
a story or an event from that month to share with you, and we're going to go in order of the events occurring. Generally, although two of us picked the same day with different events. We're going to start with July 6th. We're going to jump to July 14th and then end out with July 20th, a major moment in history. And if you're listening and you are a high school or college student taking American history, feel free to use exactly what we say here as
Cite us. Cite us in your
as your paper, as something in
Yeah.
your paper. Although we're probably bullshit researchers, and you'll probably get an F, and that's what you get. But it's better than AI. It's not AI. You're not using
block quotes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No AI was used in the creation of this content.
I
Right?
listened to a professor on
Hunter?
NPR the other day saying he found a way to find out if his students were using AI, and he said like 42% of them were using AI for their exams when he found out.
Good
So-
tracks.
And
Yeah.
he only caught like 30% of them. The other 12%
Yeah.
admitted to it when he called them. He asked them. So anyway, okay, we're here, and we're going to start with July 6th. And Art, do you want to go first on July 6th? Art Star, start us off.
Just listening to you talk earlier,
Yeah.
I think I might want to go first because I feel like mine's going to be a little bit more concise.
Okay.
So
Probably.
not to say yours isn't going to be immaculate and great as well.
I will say mine will not be concise. Go on.
But
Okay, good.
okay, so I have chosen to talk about a young second lieutenant, Jack Robinson. Jack Robinson. Wait for it. Just wait for it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Hear me out.
Sounds familiar.
All right. So on July 6th, 1944, some 11 years before Rosa Parks' arrest, which sparked the Montgomery bus boycotts, a 25-year-old soldier by the name of Jack Robinson was arrested for refusing to move to the back of the bus. Robinson was stationed at Camp Hood in Texas, and that day he was coming back from the officers club. The officers club was actually a hospital, but they called it like an officers club because it was like almost sort of like the VA.
Okay.
When he boarded a military bus and sat near the front next to one of the officer's wife when he noticed her. We'll come back to the officer's wife. The bus driver, Milton Renniger, told him he had to get to the back, and he refused since he singled him out. And then a lot of what I found in history suggests that Jackie had sort of a temper, which made me fall down the rabbit hole. And I wanted to see if I could find if there was some sort of movie or anything portraying this. So I fell down the hole and went back and watched 42. So I'm like, well, I can't recall whether 42 showed this incident, but a big part of 42 was Jackie having to kind of control his temper because he was known as a hothead.
So this is that Jackie.
This is Jackie
okay.
Robinson, the baseball
Right.
player. If you haven't picked that up, everyone, listeners, not just Jack Robinson.
I opened my mouth. I shot myself in the foot. I did all of those things too soon. I was going to get there, but I got there faster than I wanted to.
Yeah, I thought you were going to have a big reveal.
Yeah, I got there faster than I wanted to. Okay, so the officer's wife was what they called back then as passing. For the uninitiated, passing is basically when you have a person of color who most people, when they see them, appears that this person of color is not a person of color, but a Caucasian person. So this woman that Jackie was sitting next to was actually a black woman, but the bus driver thought she was a white woman. So not only did he want him to move to the back of the bus, but he also did not want him sitting next to this white woman and talking to her. It was okay. And the bus driver didn't notice. The officer's wife was what they call passing, and the bus driver didn't notice, so he only told Robinson that he had to go to the back of the bus. Jack felt he was being singled out because the driver assumed he was talking to a white woman, so he refused to move. Washington, the United States, had already stated that military posts were not to be segregated, and Robinson was on a military bus that just so happened to also transport civilians. So this bus, whenever civilian came on base, it also transported civilians to and from the base. So basically, the military buses were supposed to be, for all intents and purposes, Switzerland, right? Neutral. It wasn't supposed to be like some place where it's like, well, you're black, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like
desegregated.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, military was desegregated early.
Right.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't.
No,
just look at a soldier story. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Once they
nothing
arrived,
really was. But
Once they arrived at their destination, Robinson was then pulled into a series of events where he was accused of calling a white woman a name and not knowing his place in the Jim Crow South. MPs were called, and Jack was taken away to explain the situation with his camp's assistant provost marshal. Once there, Jack realized quickly that he wouldn't be treated fairly. Efforts to defend himself led to cries of insubordination. He was then taken back to camp, where he was placed under guard, meaning he was placed somewhat under arrest, but he wasn't necessarily under arrest, but then he also wasn't really
free to go.
Yeah. Okay. The events of July 6, 1944, including failure to obey a direct order and conduct unbecoming of an officer, led to Ben Robinson being subject to a court-martial on August 2nd, 1944. Robinson, in a letter to the Assistant Secretary of War, wrote 10 days later, on July 16, 1944, asking for advice as to how he should handle this case, which he felt he wasn't getting a fair and just trial. Robinson's court-martial was filled with witnesses trying to corroborate each other's story to fit the narrative that Robinson was guilty of everything he was charged with. The prosecution had trouble proving that he said arguments the white civilians and Army officers presented versus Robinson's arguments, and the judges acquitted him of all charges. They proposed moving him to another unit, but he didn't want to go to another unit. This experience, from what I read, left a serious distaste in Jackie's mouth, and he no longer wanted to be in the Army. He requested a release from the Army and was transferred to Camp Breckinridge in Kentucky, where he had the opportunity to coach black athletic teams. Jackie Robinson was honorably discharged from the U.S. Army in November of 1944 because of an old ankle injury he suffered playing college football a few years back. About 9 months later, Branch Rickey came calling, and the rest is history.
Branch Rickey.
Nice.
Yeah.
I yield my time.
So to me, this is very poignant because for many reasons, Jackie Robinson. I mean, and you got the movie 42, and I mean, he's super famous for that, but it's like, it makes you think, how often did this happen that nobody heard about it because it wasn't one of the most famous, sports figures in the world.
Yeah,
he was just a dude when it happened.
He was just a guy that
but we know about it now. We know
he
about
wasn't.
it now
He was
because
serving
of
his
that.
country.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But he was also he wasn't as low key as cause that was a lady named Viola White.
And he used it, man.
Yeah, but he was also known as a great college athlete as well.
Yeah.
When he was enlisted, so people knew who he was. He was good at UCLA, but he hadn't gotten the big name recognition yet.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, when
but
I bring that up specifically because on July 8th of 1944, this was a thing I just remembered again today. I saw, because back when Amy and I were still doing American Timelines, I had teed up a whole bunch of murders for her because she wanted murder. I was like, please still do the podcast. Here's murders you can cover.
Look, I found you murders.
On July 8th,
murders, loved one.
Booker T. Spicely was an African-American soldier from the North, was in North Carolina, didn't know about some of the rules on buses, then refused to move. Was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm not moving. Why should I move? What are you doing? I'm not moving. Got off the bus, and the bus driver shot him twice in the back and killed him. So that's 2 days after this. That guy was dead. Has anybody heard of Booker T. Spicely?
No,
nobody's ever heard of it. So it's like,
Jesus fuck, man.
So that makes you think, and that guy died. So how many?
Oh, dude, that's
that we never hear about. You never
in college, my senior thesis was literally on it was basically on lynching and Jim Crow.
I remember you talking about that painting and shit.
Yeah, and Jim Crow, and it's just like there were so many lynchings going to times of Jim Crow.
Oh yeah,
and there but so many that you would actually hear about. Yeah, but I mean, it was like in the South. Like if you were anywhere in the Bible Belt, like literally, like to this day, I have this friend. When I just said I was moving down here, this dude, this was right around the same time football player had got killed from he was in a car accident and he got knocked on someone's door.
Yeah, I remember that happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was like, dude, you know what they do to people like you in the South? Like to this day.
Oh yeah,
people,
no.
So it's like it's crazy. But back then, people would just disappear.
Oh yeah.
Just straight disappear.
That was one of the we
farmer.
Recently had Parade, the Broadway musical at Blumenthal, and one of the interesting things I felt like the show did was every time something happened, like a major event that was linked to an event in history, they would put the date was projected on the stage. Nice. And I remember just looking at it and being like, that's 100 years ago. That's not, there are people alive today that experienced that
world. Yeah, dude.
And I feel like we like to pretend that we're past that now.
Nah, dude.
And we're so far from being
still
look at where we're at. Look at where we're at now. There are little kids now that are going to remember what's happening now to their parents. With them just going to work.
Yeah, man.
And this is 2025.
Yeah, it could be
back in the day. You would watch the Jetsons, and ooh, you can't wait to be in the sky. And here we are now.
We're still waiting.
People going to work and
Back to the Future Part 2.
Fucking men, mass fucking men are jumping out the car snatching them
Yeah.
Yup.
in a fucking America.
We're in a
dude.
2025.
George
There's
Orwell was the
five,
one that got it right.
1825.
And the lynchings are happening.
Oh yeah,
Right,
no,
right.
crosses are still set on fire, man. You
Yeah.
know, they'll
Yeah.
still do that shit.
It's
fucking
nuts.
disgusting.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
And it's like, where do these these millennials and people who were born in the 2000s, like, where do they get? I mean, I guess hate is generational. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's still just like, if
passed
you was
out.
born in 2000, how did you fucking hate? You was born in
Oh,
2000.
dude.
How do you fucking hate?
It's handed down from their parents.
Yeah, dude.
That's it.
You get that. You teach that shit. You teach that shit. at a
I
young
grew up.
age.
I grew up in the sticks of North Carolina, and like
Ooh.
I still know people that I don't associate with them anymore, but like are very much like their parents told them that this was the way, and they followed it,
Yup. Oh yeah.
and they're still following it.
Yup.
They followed it all the way to the fucking White House.
Yup. They voted that shit. They're stoked about that shit.
And they quick to say Jesus
The,
loves us.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
not their. Maybe they're Jesus.
The
I like to. It's like, hey man, you got your
I don't know,
Jesus.
did you guys see the Black Hawk helicopter raid in Chicago?
Oh,
They literally landed a Black Hawk helicopter on an apartment building,
yeah.
rounded people up
Yep.
like half naked out of their homes,
oh.
tasing men with babies in their arms,
Mhm.
half naked, zip tied them up, and then let everyone go. Why?
Terror.
Why other
Terror.
than to terrify people?
Yeah, no,
you're
that's-
exactly right.
Yep.
Terrorism.
They're terrorists.
Yeah,
It's
they-
terrorism.
State sponsored terrorism.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we were. If there, I don't want to. We're siding with the bad guys.
Yeah.
Like internationally, like as someone of Hungarian descent, if you're on the same side as a current Hungary, phew, that's not a good idea, dude. That's a fucking poison pill.
It's fucking crazy what's happening. But Arstar, that's good. So I don't know that, like you said,
Dude,
you
that's-
saw that
I-
movie. You don't remember
yeah.
that part.
Well, in the
But
that's
it
just it. In the
wasn't?
movie, it basically starts afterwards. Like, you don't
Oh,
even.
okay.
It doesn't
So that
even
part's
reference
not.
it.
That
Because I
part's
was like
not
trying
in
to
the
see if it was in there. Because
Yeah.
when I looked at, when
Is
I
it in the
Googled
Broadway musical?
that I don't know.
The first?
But I was like, it doesn't even mention. And like when I Googled it, someone had said something about like, oh yeah, they showed it in the movie. And I was like, wait, I don't recall seeing that in the movie.
Yeah, but
And I ended up watching the movie at like 2 a.m.
It kind
Yeah,
of feels like we knew, like this was something everybody knows happened, maybe, but he dealt with so much.
Probably you know what happened, but then it's probably not something that like when you think Jackie Robinson, you think of
You think all the
Baseball.
breaking the color barrier,
Yeah.
and then baseball, and everyone
Yeah,
wearing
baseball.
42 on April 15th. Well, I don't know if everyone knows it, but April 15th is Jackie Robinson Day, and everybody wears number 42, which they kind of allude to
Well, I
in the
mean,
movie.
baseball fans and
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But everybody was spiking
I'm a
him
baseball
and everything,
movie
and
fan. Though I
you know,
haven't seen
where they're
42. I
yeah.
feel bad saying I'm a baseball movie fan because I haven't seen 42.
Yeah, I gotta
That's
see
good.
I haven't seen
That's
8
good.
Men Out.
I wrote
Yeah.
I've seen
I wrote
Field of
like
Dreams,
4.
the major leagues. I've seen the major leagues and the Bad News Bears.
I wrote a bunch
Which
of
Bad News Bears?
The first generation with
Okay,
fucking-
the OG.
Yeah, the OG.
You see the one with Hunt
nothing
Hall in
against
it?
Billy.
Hunt
Yeah,
Hall was in one. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I wrote a bunch of papers in college and high school on racism in sports, mainly because my older brother, John, wrote a paper about racism in sports years before me. So first I plagiarized a paper.
I was
about
about to ask, did
racism
you
in
copy his paper?
pretty much. I changed some of the references, but and then from then on, then I
I thought
lost
we
the
just
paper.
crossed his name on it, wrote your name or whatever.
I had to write my
Well,
own then. Yeah,
John and Joe were so close.
yeah, I just changed the N to an E, and they were all good. But yeah, so my event thing happened on the same day, and I'm going to tell you. I think maybe I'll just start off with why I'm connected to this or why I changed. I was going to do a movie. There's a horror movie that happens later in the month, and maybe we'll honorable mention it later if I can. You remember what that was called? But I was going to have to watch that movie and report on it. So one, laziness. Number two, I remembered my wife recently participated, my wife, in a past life regression.
Ooh,
With somebody,
nice.
a friend of mine who was an usher at Blumenthal. I think I don't think she is anymore, but she was. So Art might know her. Steve, you met her husband on Friend Check, an episode of Friend Check.
Oh, okay.
If you remember, we interviewed Aaron Moody, his
Yes.
wife Meg. They were both
Yes.
ushers. Uh, she is a what's her? I think she's like a massage therapist, which I made the mistake of. One of the terms for massage therapists is
Oh,
like sexy, is a sex version, a sex worker. Masseuse, I think, is she
Mm.
doesn't like to be called a masseuse because that's a sex worker. She's a massage therapist. That's not a sex worker. So one gives happy endings, one doesn't. But she
good to
also, in
know.
her practice, in her place where she works, she also does past life regressions, which I was like, what? Tell me about this. And so she explained to me, I thought, my wife, you're into that? She's like, yeah, I don't know, maybe, I think. I thought she'd be
It's
really into it.
like a reincarnation thing.
So
Yeah,
what they do,
yeah.
I guess they
Because
have
we're
you,
all old souls reborn and relearning.
yeah, they kind of have you close your eyes and kind of
Yeah.
hypnotize you into like, do you see any visions of it? And kind of
Like
talk you through it. So
Winona Ryder was the reincarnation of Gary Oldman's first wife in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
is that
Sorry, go on.
true? Is that a thing? Is that what
Well, I
she
mean, the
thinks?
No,
character.
it's like in
Oh,
the
the
show.
character
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
show.
And
I know what
the
you're, I know
character,
what you're
not
talking.
Winona
I was like,
Ryder and Gary Oldman,
Yeah.
but
I was like, oh,
Mina
okay.
Stewart.
That's a recurring vampire trope.
So in
But,
that,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
but
I'm
yes.
not a vampire
Mina
fan.
Harkness.
I do not like vampires.
They,
So
you know your brother. You and Andy
anyways,
hate
so
vampires.
in her past life regression, she kept seeing these visions of being in a circus tent and not being able to get out of it as it catches
Oh,
on fire. And all these people
that's not
running and
that's not.
screaming, and she can't move, and fire is raining down, and it's a circus tent, and it's like chaos and all that. So I had Googled at that point. I was like, "Is there a circus fire? Is there a famous circus fire?" And July 6th, 1944, is known as the day the clowns cried.
Ooh,
The day the clowns cried because it was the day of the Hartford Circus Fire, which I showed her a picture from this, and we'll get to the picture of a unidentified young girl who was killed in this. And I was, is this you? Was this you? Maybe
does it look like Amy?
said that picture gives me kind of chills. She doesn't really believe in the past life regression. She kind of thinks she doesn't really know if it's real. Like she doesn't know, but
More or less
Well,
subliminal.
yeah, she
Or-
thinks it's
or,
kind
you
of
know.
like she said maybe she read this somewhere and it was just in her head, or maybe it was a dream. But this circus fire in Hartford, Connecticut killed at least 167 people, left
Ooh,
more than 700 people injured, and was one of the worst fire disasters in U.S. history. It broke out during an afternoon performance of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus that was attended by 6,000 to 8,000 people. The
wow.
deadliest disaster ever recorded in Connecticut. Now, back then, the records weren't the same. There wasn't like, you come to the circus, we have your name and email address and address. Like
Yeah.
there was a lot of unknown people in there, whether they even went to the circus or not. There was a lot of poor people who maybe have snuck in, a lot of transients. Like there was not
A
everybody
lot
was
of hobos.
identified. Yeah.
Not all of them hobo clowns.
Some of the bodies weren't identified. There was a little girl there that they were like, she's a cute little girl, and nobody knows who she is. Nobody cares that she's gone, so they don't know if maybe all of her family died with her.
Mm-hmm.
Some people were traumatized by it and didn't want to even go back and look. So there's some craziness with that. But in the mid 20th century, let's get the background. It's a typical U.S. circus traveled by train, performing under a massive canvas tent known as the Big Top. Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey, the country's largest, was no exception. However, the circus faced personnel and equipment shortages due to the U.S. involvement in World War II. So this led to many frequent delays, many malfunctions. Menagerie fire in August of 1942 killed several animals, and the circus was plagued by bad luck. When it arrived in Hartford, Connecticut on July 5th, 1944, late trains forced the cancellation of one of the day's 2 shows. And I don't know if you guys know much about circus superstition, but if you miss a show, that's extremely bad luck.
Oh, shit.
So all the employees were now on high alert. The evening show went ahead as planned, but the next day's 2:15 performance, attended mostly by women and children, ended up being fateful. The estimated 7,000 strong audience will be part of the biggest tragic event in Connecticut's history. The big tent seated 9,000 spectators around its 3 rings, measuring 200 feet wide by 450 feet long, with 15-foot high sidewalls and a 48-foot high roof. The canvas was treated with 1,800 pounds of paraffin wax dissolved in 6,000 gallons of gasoline, making it waterproof but highly flammable.
That's crazy. Though,
Yeah.
like who was like, this is a good idea.
Hey,
Like, what
that
if-
was the best idea at the time, man.
Show
Like,
must go on in the
you know,
rain.
a tent that we're gonna hold thousands of people in.
Let's soak it in some gasoline and
gasoline.
wax.
That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Can you imagine what
Yeah.
it smelled like? It had to
Oh,
smell like that, right?
Animal shit.
Well,
I imagine it smelled like
mixed
animal
with
shit
gasoline.
and sweat.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
ever been to a circus show?
God,
Yeah.
it stinks.
Like
The
the
tent-
old
Yeah.
circus where they
Oh.
still had animals?
I remember when the animals would come through. We lived
Oh,
in a
yeah,
town that
dude.
the train goes right through the middle of our town.
Exactly, dude.
And
Yeah.
we could go when the circus was coming to town, and you could watch the animals.
Watch the train, yeah.
Well,
Come
in
watch
Baltimore,
that.
what they would do, what Ringling Brothers would come in, they would have like they
Oh,
would parade the elephant
Yeah, dude.
and all of the animals
walk
because they would have it like right in the middle of the city.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
take them to the arena, and you could actually watch them march the animals
Oh,
to
yeah,
the
no.
arena, and they just dropping deuces. It's like
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, no.
City will
Big
clean it
fucking-
up. It'll be
yeah.
fine.
But then sometimes you just like even with like horses just walking around just dropping deuces. Cars rolling over it, and that the smell of horse shit is
There's a guy in Charlotte that he rides horses into like with a group into uptown.
Yeah, the urban
And-
cowboys.
and they
Yeah,
are-
these urban
And they are
cowboys, yeah.
notorious for just like,
Shit.
and I'm not even
Yeah.
talking about like in the street, like on sidewalks,
Oh,
just
yeah.
like
Yeah.
just dropping massive shits and just leaving it. I'm
Yeah,
like,
they're
yeah.
not gonna clean it up.
I saw those guys one time. I was like, is this the middle of Charlotte? Just driving
They
these
make
horses?
shit bags, you know.
Yeah.
They can attach shit bags to their
yeah,
horses.
they're like they do some other questionable things. I've seen videos of them like cutting cars off, like you
Well,
know,
yeah,
like,
they're-
almost, like
They're fuckers
putting
on
the horses
horseback.
in
Yeah.
danger, like
Yeah, because if you hit
Yeah.
that horse, they're gonna sue you. You know, fuck them.
Well, this tent,
Even though I would do it. I would do it.
if you didn't think it was already
To ride a
flammable,
horse through a city, I'd be like, yeah.
if you didn't think this tent was flammable enough, it also stood on freshly mowed, watered grass covered with hay and wood shaving. So much of hay and wood shaving.
And everyone
Yeah.
smoked.
Yep,
Women and
everyone
children
smoked. And that's what
smoking.
they think. They think
Of
that's
course.
who was convicted. They think it was a flick cigarette,
So,
maybe. And there's
I should have put it
questions
out on
first.
that. kid. I
maybe
should've
like that
just-
seems like it's like well, duh.
well,
That-
there's
that
a
seems like-
potential
Like it would just
arsonist.
it would just take one spark for
but it
that
would
There's a
to
be-
potential arson.
And you're telling me there's no fire in the circus act? Like you have like fire breathers? Like,
Yeah.
this just seems like a bad
No,
idea.
And this is
I-
1944. They might not have got there yet.
No, they
And
were
there's the
there.
war. It's World War II. So they had
Yeah.
as a pared down. Anyway, inside 3 rings
There-
and 2 stages were separated from seating by a 25-foot wide oval track. Exits included a main entrance and 8 smaller ones, but many of them were blocked by wagons or items during the fire, like animal cages and things were blocking the way. The fire started on the southwest sidewall after the Lions performance, while the Flying Walendas were on.
Oh shit.
So the fire started while the Flying Walendas are in the air. Band leader Merle Evans spotted the flames and signaled distress. Here's how he signaled distress. Like he spotted the flames. Here's how they told you there was a fire. He started playing the Stars and Stripes Forever. Ringmaster Fred Bradna urged calm, but his voice was drowned out as power failed. Ushers tried to evacuate the crowd and douse the flames, but panic set in. The big cats, trained by May Kovar and Joseph Walsh, were herded to cage wagons, and they were mostly unharmed. Many spectators escaped, but some were trapped by hysteria, blocked exits, and many of them stayed put, just sitting there expecting that the emergency response would be sufficient and would take care of everything. So they just stay there. Oh, they'll take care of it. Some ran back in to find family.
It's like the "This is fine" meme.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing's
Yep.
on fire. The dumpster fire.
This is fine.
That's all right.
Some ran back in to find family while others searched for loved ones in the chaos. There's a video. If you go to the Wikipedia page, there's a video of the aftermath of it where you can just see like police roaming the grounds.
This is really sad.
An 11-year-old named Maureen Creakian at the time narrowly escaped the fire, and she had planned to attend with neighbors, but they left without her. So, taking matters in her own hands, she went to the circus by herself and sat in the bleachers. She said, "I remember somebody yelling and seeing a big ball of fire near the top of the tent. It grew bigger and bigger, and everyone panicked. The exit was blocked by animal cages, but a man flung kids over it to safety." So there's some guy just throwing kids over the cage. I jumped from the bleachers onto straw below. A young man slit the tent with a pocket knife and pulled me out, and I grabbed another little girl's arm, pulling her to safety too. Others, like Frida Pushnik, the armless and legless wonder, were rescued by performers. So think who's in most danger? Somebody who has no arms or legs, but somebody saved her. Judith Shapiro was pushed from the bleachers, landing on a chair. The paraffin wax waterproofing fueled the fire.
Who pushed him?
I don't know.
No one
Somebody. It was a
knows.
mass panic. But the paraffin wax waterproofing fueled the fire, melting and raining down on the crowd. So it's like it was all on
Whoa.
fire, dropping.
Flaming
just
wax,
little
yeah.
drops of
Yeah.
flame. Yeah.
The tent collapsed in about
Raining fire.
8 minutes. It took for the tent to collapse, trapping hundreds. The iconic image of clown Emmett Kelly with a water bucket led to the event being known as the Day the Clowns Cried. I guess the clown was trying to put everything out.
I'm kind of shocked that it lasted 8 minutes.
Well,
Like the whole
Shit
thing
took
was
longer
drenched
back
in
then.
gasoline.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seemed
I'm
like it
just-
would.
I'm-
Yeah, he would think.
I would think it would just gone.
Yeah. While many people burned to death, others died as a result of the ensuing chaos. Sources and investigators differ on how many people were killed exactly and injured. Some say 167, maybe 168, 169. But official injury treated estimates run over 700 people. The number of actual injuries is believed to be higher than those figures because many people were seen that day heading home in shock without seeking any treatment at all. It's commonly believed that the number of fatalities is higher than estimates given, also due to poorly kept residency records in rural towns and the fact that some of the smaller remains were never identified or claimed. Additionally, free tickets had been handed out that day to many people in and around the city, some of whom appeared to eyewitness.
Friends and family ticks.
Some of whom appeared to eyewitnesses and circus employees to be drifters who would never have been reported missing. Nobody cares when a drifter is missing. Some died from injuries sustained after leaping from the tops of the bleachers in hopes they could escape under the sides of the tent, though that method of escape ended up killing more than it saved. Others were trampled by other spectators, some asphyxiating underneath the piles of people who fell over each other. Most of the dead were found in piles, some 3 bodies deep at the most congested exits. A small number of people were found alive at the bottoms of some of these piles. So they were protected by the bodies on top that burned first when everything fell down.
well, that's gonna stay with you.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah,
you
you're just
imagine?
smelling people cooking like in your
And
You're
you're
never gonna
alive.
want bacon.
Ah.
You're never gonna want bacon again.
And they, these people in the 40s, they didn't like see a therapist. They just
Yeah.
dealt with it.
Yeah.
Here's some notable survivors.
They probably went to the circus the next year. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you guys are all sitting down for this because these are notable. One was Eunice Groark.
What?
Eunice Groark was there, the first female lieutenant governor of Connecticut. She was there.
Holy
And
shit!
Eunice Rourke. The Flying Melendez were famous, and actor, comedian, and director was 13 years old at the time. Charles Nelson Riley was there.
What?
He was a 13-year-old.
Nice.
He was in this fire. And he's got he mentioned something about it later. Actress Jan Miner was in this fire survivor. She's best known for portraying Madge in the Palmolive commercials. Remember the Palmolive Madge?
You dip your hands in it.
You dip your hands in it, Madge.
Yeah.
Drummer Hal Blaine and Emmett Kelly, the famous circus clown. But those who survived carry the trauma for decades. 70 years after the fire, Carol Tillman Parrish, who was 6 at the time, said that until this day, I can smell the stench of human flesh as the blaze consumed its victims. I kind of want to show you this picture, but this is an audio podcast, so you wouldn't be able to see it anyway. But if you look on the Wikipedia page,
did we get to your connection yet? Because I'm reading down the Wikipedia and I'm wondering if I found it.
Yeah. So, well, my connection was that my wife had the past life regression. That was the connection.
Oh,
she thinks she was in it. So,
okay.
And then I showed her this.
I thought
picture.
you meant like you knew someone.
No, I didn't know anybody. But Little Miss 1565, I think might have been my wife. Maybe she died in it. She. And so there was someone called Little Miss 1565, and you Google her. It's a very clear picture of a deceased little girl who looks like she was made up in a dress and cute, and she was never claimed. And that's kind of sad. Like,
why
little girl
65? That was her morgue number.
That was the number assigned to her body at the city's morgue. Yeah. She was a young blonde girl wearing a white dress. She's only known as Little Miss 1565. She was oddly well preserved even after her death, after this whole fire. Her face was arguably become the most familiar image of the fire. Her true identity has been a topic of debate and frustration in the Hartford area since the fire occurred. She was buried without a name in Hartford's Northwood Cemetery, where a victim's memorial also stands. 2 police investigators, Sergeant Thomas Barber and Edward Lowe, photographed her and took fingerprints, footprints, dental charts, and despite massive publicity and repeated displays of the famous photograph everywhere, she was never claimed. Barbara and Lowe spent the rest of their lives trying to identify her. They decorated her grave with flowers each Christmas, Memorial Day, and July 4th. After their deaths, a local flower company continued to decorate the grave. And then there were some proposed identifications. In 1991, arson investigator Rick Davey, along with co-writer Don Massey, published A Matter of Degree, The Hartford Circus Fire and Mystery of Little Miss 1565, in which he claims that the girl was Eleanor Emily Cook, and she was from Massachusetts. Now, her brother, Eleanor Cook's brother, Donald, had contacted authorities in 1955, insisting that the girl was his sister, but nothing came of it. Don later worked with Davy to establish her identity. Donald believes the family members were shown the wrong body in the confusion at the morgue, so that's why she wasn't claimed. So in 1991, the body was declared to be Eleanor Emily Cook, who was 8, though Cook's aunt and uncle had examined the body and it did not fit the description they provided. The Connecticut State Police Forensics Units compared hair samples and determined they were probably from the same person. The body was exhumed in 1991, buried next to her brother Edward, who had also died in the fire. Now there's ongoing questions about, was that really her? Was it not? Some of the family members were too distraught by the whole thing, and it was so tragic that they didn't want to go back and see. And so while DNA now could really figure out who it is, everybody kind of thinks it's just too many bodies to have to dig up and analyze and whatever to even do this. And most of the people are kind of gone now anyway. So that's with that. So as far as the investigation into the fire, the cause remains unsolved. Investigators at the time believed it was caused by a carelessly flicked cigarette, like you guys said. Everybody smoked. I'm sure that's what happened. But others suspected an arsonist. And in 1950, while being investigated on other arson charges, Robert Dale Segee, S-E-G-E-E.
This is where I thought your connection was.
No.
I saw
I don't know
I saw Ohio, and I was like, yeah, Joe.
No, it was Ohio. No, I'm not related to the I'm not related to the arsonists. I don't know. My uncle's not Robert Dale Segee. Anyway, Robert Dale CG was an adolescent at the time of the fire, and he confessed to starting the blaze. He was never tried for the crime, and he later recanted his confession. But so a few people were convicted for this. Some circus officials were fined and went were convicted for this, and they were given prison terms, but uh, they they were pardoned entirely, but they were convicted just for carelessness of the thing. And one of the people who was convicted, James A. Haley, went on to serve in the U.S. House of Representatives for 24 years. But they just pinned it on him like, hey, you guys weren't careful enough, whatever. But back to CG's confession. In 1950, Robert Dale CG of Circleville, Ohio, claimed during a police interview that he was responsible for setting the fire. Following the interview, CG signed a statement admitting to setting the circus fire, a series of other fires, and several murders since his youth. CG was a 14-year-old roustabout for the show from June 30th to July 14th, 1944. So he worked for the circus. And then he claimed he had a nightmare in which an American Indian riding on a flaming horse told him to set fires. According to police authorities, CG further stated that after his nightmare, his mind went blank, and by the time it cleared, the circus fire had been set. Some of CG's
for the audience, a roustabout is a worker with broad-based, non-specific skills.
A jack
A
of all
volunteer,
trades,
basically.
a volunteer, yeah, just a gopher maybe. Anyway, some of CG's hand-drawn images of his bizarre dreams and images depicting his claimed murders appeared in Life magazine on July 17, 1950, which I neglected to look that up. So if you guys want to look that up, those might be interesting.
You looked up a dead girl, but you didn't look up some crazy man's pictures.
Robert CG's hand-drawn images. I bet those are cool looking.
I mean, I'm not to imply they are, but yeah.
In November 1950, he was convicted in Ohio of unrelated arson charges and sentenced to 44 years of prison time. However, Hartford investigators raised doubts over his confession, as he had a history of mental illness, and it cannot be proven that he was in Connecticut when the fire occurred. Connecticut officials were also not allowed to question CG, even though his alleged crime had occurred in their state. CG, who died in 1997, denied setting the fire later, as late as 1994 during an interview. Because of this, many investigators, historians, and victims believe that the true arsonist, if it had indeed been arson, was never found. In 2002, the Hartford Circus Fire Memorial Foundation was established to erect a permanent memorial to the people killed in the fire. Ground was broken for the monument on July 6, 2004, at the site where the fire occurred. Its actor and theater director Charles Nelson Riley, who was 13 years old at the time, survived the fire, and dramatized it in the film of the stage show, The Life of Riley. In a 1997 interview, Riley said that he rarely attended the theater. What? Everybody okay?
Yeah? You okay?
What was that sound?
Okay?
Somebody else shit?
No?
You didn't hear that?
I heard it.
No.
I did.
Wait,
Who
yelled it?
Did you yell that?
Someone else. It wasn't. You didn't hear that? Someone said shit.
I don't know.
No, I heard it.
It was like a sneeze.
I thought it was a sneeze. I wasn't on the page. I was looking at the creepy
Yeah.
pictures.
Whose house was that? Anyway,
Huh.
it was a ghost. Maybe it was a ghost of Charles Nelson Riley. Is he dead? Anyway, Riley said in a 1997 interview that he rarely attended the theater despite being a director, as the sound of a large audience in a theater reminded him of the large crowd at the circus before the disaster. He also said during his latter show that his mother, whom he had disobeyed after she had told him not to go to the circus that day with his friend, caught them sneaking out of their sight and scolded them, saying, "I hope it burns to the ground."
Oh,
Charles
shit.
Nelson Riley's mother may have caused the fire.
Well,
inadvertently.
she called upon the gods.
Yeah.
She called
Oh,
upon
God.
the Indian on the flaming
Yeah.
horse to go to the roustabout from Ohio.
Yeah. So that Hartford fire
We just solved a mystery.
may have
And
killed
Amy
my
was that
wife
little girl.
in a
Yeah.
previous life. She might be that little girl, or she might be.
Well, she was
She
that
might have been a
little girl.
dude in the fire. Cause
Like you started talking about it. I started thinking about like when Amy came to that Halloween party as a little girl vampire.
yeah,
You know,
that she looks like that. Yeah, that's true. She looked like that picture of that little girl.
You
So
would know. I didn't look at that picture. I looked at the creepy drawings.
So should I start calling Amy was it Eleanor Clark?
I don't think so.
See if she
Unless that's your right. You know,
It's a
start with "Hey Clark."
Hey, time heads, since these guys are total yappers, we're going to split this episode into two. Stay tuned for Stephen Hunter's July 1944 stories in the next episode. This one is to be continued, as the kids say. Thanks for listening, jerks.
Oh, my child, it's about to get wild. Have you been down on the streets today? Say, now, baby, it's about to get crazy. Everybody's got something to say. We got 10,000 people screaming, oh my God, it's over, but they're never gonna take us away. So you better get believing there's a brand new feeling. If you're asking, I say stay awake, stay awake. I know you feel it on the inside.
Matt Truman Ego Trip is the greatest band of all time. Buy their music. American Timelines is a product of History for Jerks. Check out historyforjerks.com for all the other weird and cool shiznit. There's The Gruff and Loud Show, a YouTube show for Gen X weirdos who like pop culture and weird shit. There's also The Deborah Jo Ruppyverse Show featuring the mighty Arstar and Steve Bishop exploring the theory that the actress Deborah Jo Rupp is a nexus being, and every part she has played is one immortal being. Don't forget about the Nerd School podcast and the Threadless Shop, where you can buy a Tito Jackson shirt and a Dabney Coleman hat. Only a stupid dumbass wouldn't want a Dabney Coleman hat, and only a wiener bitch wouldn't want a Tito Jackson shirt.